Hello friends, this video on human health and diseases part 24 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. So now that we have reached towards the end of this lesson, let us quickly look at some of the questions. Question number 1. How does the transmission of each of the following diseases take place? Amoebiasis, malaria, ascariasis and pneumonia. So amoebiasis is nothing but amoebic dysentery. So this is caused by the pathogen Entamoeba histolytica and it is transmitted through contaminated food and water, and housefly acts as a transmitting agent. That is, it can transmit it acts as a carrier which can transmit the parasite from one person to another. Malaria. The transmitting agent here is female Anopheles mosquito. So when this mosquito bites an infected person, it takes the parasite, and when it bites another normal person, it injects the parasite into the body of that person. Ascariasis. It is caused by the roundworm Ascaris, and this is also transmitted through contaminated food and water. Pneumonia. It is caused by the bacteria and it is also transmitted through contaminated air. So when we say air, it basically means that if there is an infected person in the neighborhood, so when that person is suffering from pneumonia, when he sneezes, there are chances that those pathogens will be present in the air surrounding him. So now if a normal person comes in his vicinity, there are chances that he might inhale that contaminated air, and that is how the infection might happen to him, and it also gets spread through the sputum of the infected person. Question number 2. The following are some well-known abbreviations which have been used in this chapter. Expand each one to its full form. MALT. It is mucosa-associated lymphoid tissue. Now we use these abbreviations just for easier representation, because every time writing such a big name is difficult. CMI, that is cell-mediated immunity. It is that type of immunity where who is the mediator? The T cells, that is the T lymphocytes are the mediators. So T lymphocytes control the entire immune response process and antibodies do not play a role. AIDS. Acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. It is that deadly disease which is normally caused by a virus, HIV, and it spreads through sexual contact. NACO, that is National AIDS Control Organization. HIV, just now I was talking about this. This is the virus which is responsible for causing AIDS, that is human immunodeficiency virus. Question number 3. How is a cancerous cell different from a normal cell? Now, as I had mentioned before, that for a normal cell, it will grow up to a certain limit. Now, as soon as the normal cells have a property that when they come in contact with some other cell, they stop dividing and they stop growing. Whereas in case of cancerous cells, they keep on growing and dividing uncontrollably. And in fact, that is what causes the problem of cancer. Normal cells stop dividing when they come in contact with other cells, whereas continuously divides cancerous cells. So the two main differences are normal cells will grow only up to a certain limit, but cancerous cells will keep on growing. Normal cells will stop dividing at a certain point of time, but cancerous cells will keep on dividing forever. Normal cells will remain in one location, so they will not spread from one part of the body to another because they are basically not dividing forever. But cancerous cells, they keep growing, they keep dividing and they keep spreading from one part of the body to another. Normal cells grow, differentiate and die. Cancerous cells just grow and divide. They never die. So they just keep on dividing and growing and increasing in number. So the tumors keep on increasing in size, then they gradually spread throughout the body. And they stop or they interfere with the body's normal functioning and the person dies. Question number 4. What measures would you take to prevent waterborne diseases? Now, for waterborne diseases, the pathogens are entering our body through contaminated water. So, proper care has to be taken of the water which we are drinking. It's like consumption of clean drinking water. Maybe you can use AquaGuard or RO at your home. Proper filtration of water should be done before it is consumed. In some places, even if there is no provision for RO, people should boil water before drinking. Water reservoirs to be cleaned periodically. So the storage container where you store water, that should also be cleaned periodically. Maybe there might be some dirt in that, and on top of that only you keep pouring water again and again. Proper disposal of sewage and excreta, so that the water which you are drinking, it should be far away from where the excreta disposal takes place, so that there is no contamination of the water. Avoid stagnant water, because stagnant water can give rise to many bacteria. It can also give rise to breeding mosquitoes. So stagnant water should always be avoided. Question number 5. In which way has the study of biology helped us to control infectious diseases? Now, biology has actually helped a lot in controlling infectious diseases, because infectious diseases, if we are able to know the cause, that is which organism or which pathogen caused that disease and how the disease gets transmitted, if we are able to know these two things, we will be able to treat that, we will be able to prevent that. And that is how biology has helped us. So biology helped us to get the details of the causal agents, that is which pathogen causes that disease, which in turn helps us to take preventive measures accordingly. Now, if we know that typhoid is caused by bacteria, and if we know how can we get rid of that bacteria, so if you know it is bacteria, you can find out measures to treat it. You know, antibiotics can kill bacteria, so antibiotic medication will help to cure typhoid. Vaccination against many deadly diseases, for example smallpox, tetanus, polio, so it has been decreased by a large number, and that has been made possible by biology because vaccines were invented. Invention of newer and better drugs for various diseases. So now if you see whatever diseases we have discussed so far, we found 2 diseases for which proper cure is not yet found, that is AIDS and cancer. However, a lot of improvement has taken place in terms of cancer, because earlier the chemotherapy, radiotherapy, even these were not there. So the only option that was available was surgery. Now, not all cancers can be treated with surgery. For example, a cancer which happens in lung, you cannot remove the lungs of the patient. So, but now since you have chemotherapy and radiotherapy, so at least it is better. The patient can be treated partially and the patient can survive for a long time if the cancer doesn't recur or if it has been diagnosed at an early stage. So a lot of improvement has happened with the development of biology. Question number 6. Differentiate between the following: innate and acquired immunity. Now, as I said, innate immunity is inborn immunity which is present at the time of birth. Acquired immunity acquired after birth. So innate immunity is non-pathogen specific. For example, when a child is born, the child also has an immune system developed inside which can protect it from any sort of foreign substances entering inside its body. Acquired immunity is pathogen specific. For example, vaccination is an example of acquired immunity. So you are given a vaccine against swine flu. So that vaccine is against a specific antigen which causes swine flu. So it is pathogen specific, but innate immunity is not pathogen specific. Innate immunity provide barriers to antigens, like whether it is physical barriers like skin, or it is a physiological barrier like the saliva or the acid in stomach. But in case of acquired immunity, it is all controlled by the lymphocytes, that is the B lymphocytes and the T lymphocytes. So these B lymphocytes will produce antibodies in response to the antigens, and the T lymphocytes will help the B lymphocytes to produce antibodies. Innate immunity is not memory based, so it has nothing to do with memory. But acquired immunity is based on immunological memory. So that is why you have the specialized memory cells, B memory cells, and they recognize the antigen, so that when the same antigen attacks for the second time, then the body's secondary immune response will be even more higher intensity. Now, I did not discuss all these in very much detail because we have already discussed about innate immunity and acquired immunity. Differentiate between the following: active and passive immunity. So active, whenever you have the word active, that means the antibodies are produced inside the body. So here body produces antibodies against antigens, but in passive immunity, body doesn't produce the antibodies, rather ready-made antibodies are injected into the body. Now here, since the body produces it, so it is a slow process, because gradually the antibodies will get produced and it will take some time to give the immune response. Whereas in passive immunity, the antibodies are just being injected into the body. So obviously the process is going to be fast. Example of active immunity is vaccination. So vaccination, wherein a small sample of the pathogen is injected into the body of the human being, that is the host, and then the body starts preparing antibodies against it. So that is an example of active immunity. Whereas passive immunity's example is mother's milk. Like the kid, inside the kid's body, the antibodies are not being produced. The antibodies are produced inside the mother's body, and through the mother's milk, it is being passed on to the kid's body. So that means the kid's body is not producing antibodies. These are ready-made antibodies which are introduced into the kid's body through the mother's milk. So that's the difference between active and passive immunity. So with this, we have reached towards the end of this lesson, and I hope that this lesson on human health and diseases would have helped you. Please go through the concepts of immunity. That is very much important in this lesson. So see you all in the next lesson. Thank you. Please visit examfear.com for an easy 4-step learning process absolutely free of cost. Watch video lessons, ask questions, refer notes, and take an online test. Thank you once again.